As an offense, we just have to stay true to who we are, and then as we get out there, we're kind of figuring out the players and all that.
Garrett, you've spoken highly, obviously, of Frazier's intelligence.
Yeah.
What kind of a role can he play in the game?
Yeah, I think I got hurt this year too, so you see the game differently when you're off the field than when you're on the field. So I think I'm gonna, after every drive, I'll probably come over and talk to him about what the front's doing and all that. But yeah, no, he sees the game really, really well, which I think is special.
Doug just said one of the best parts of the year for him was to see you take ownership of the starting spot and really get your shine. I think that was 30 years.
Yeah.
What's it been like personally for you since you had to wait for your opportunity and to finally get that chance and to do so well this year?
Yeah, it's been cool. I love the state. Many people thought that I was probably going to leave after last year or whatever, but no, I love the state, and I'm super happy that I'm able to be their quarterback.
You mentioned this to his point. You mentioned, I think it was last week, about you being the worst quarterback in the Big 12.
Yeah.
Did you kind of use that a little bit as fuel this year?
Yeah, like that was
piss you off a little bit.
Yeah, that was my lock screen throughout the entire year. Like that, and then the 14 was my home screen. So right when I opened my phone, it was me, the worst quarterback, and then when I opened it, it was the 14th ranked team on the home screen. And that was just kind of a daily reminder of what they thought of me and what they thought of this team.
You feel like you've proven them wrong?
Yeah, I think, but I still think I have a lot more people to prove wrong.
What do you got to do to be the quarterback that you want to be? What's left in you?
I think just kind of continuing to work. Not be satisfied because I had a decent year this year, but not really to my expectation and not really to what I'm fully capable of. So I think just staying the course, doing what's got me to this point, and then kind of finding those few things that really make the difference when it comes to huge steps in being a quarterback.
I mean, when you think about it, I mean, you've only been the guy since the open. Yeah. I mean, you were in a quarterback battle all through spring, summertime, or whatnot. So it's not really been that long in your career that you've been the guy.
Yeah, and like it was kind of that way in high school too. Like I was never really the guy until my junior year of high school. Really, I started off as a running back my sophomore year, and then 4 games in or whatever, I became the quarterback. So that's kind of been the story of my life. Is just counted out and doubted, but I embrace it.
So when you played Pee Wee football, you weren't really a quarterback; you're just an athlete.
Yeah,
wide receiver or whatever.
Funny story. Me and Jimbo Fisher's son, Trey Fisher.
Yeah.
We went to the same middle school. Okay. So he was the quarterback and I was the running back for I think it was 2 years in middle school.
Yeah.
So they just wanted to put the athlete with the ball in his hands, I guess.
I was going to say that Jimbo left, right?
Yeah.
And the new coach came in. I guess they talked to you like the day of signing day. Is that pretty much what it was?
Yeah. Florida State never really reached out to me, which
until the
was
end,
perfectly
right?
fine with. Yeah.
And by that time you were like, well,
yeah, I was already signed, sealed, delivered. Yeah.
Right. Your dad said grew up in Miami. Is that right? He was a Miami fan.
Yeah. So my dad grew up he went to Killian High School. He's from Miami, and then my mom's from Canal Point, which is just probably 100 feet from Lake Okeechobee.
Did you take your Hurricane games?
No, I never really was a Dolphins fan.
Or Miami Hurricanes?
Yeah, well, really growing up, NFL wasn't huge for us.
Okay.
It was always college football. Like college football was king, and obviously being in the South, Florida State was right in my backyard, so college football really was king. But it was mainly just college football house, and then I would have practice or stuff on Sundays, but never on Saturdays.
And were your grandpa disappointed when you didn't play baseball?
No. Yeah, both my dad and my grandpa, they were super happy because now they get to see like another side of a highly competitive sport, which I think has been cool. Just the journey that they've been on with me.
And you said your dad. What was the best piece of advice your dad or your grandpa gave you about sports?
I don't really think it was like just something that they said, but ever since I was 5 years old, I grew up in locker rooms like Ryan Braun, Prince Fielder. Like I was running around, no shirt on, just running around having a good time with them. So I really don't think it was what was what was said to me, but I think it was really just what I observed and what I just absorbed through just being in that environment. And I think that's a huge part of the man and the player I am today.
So the understanding of team sports, how everything works, I mean, how it's all.
Yeah, and like my dad, so like obviously play a lot of games in pro ball, so like I would ride the bus home with the players after, and then he always said like after wins you can laugh, giggle, like have a good time, but then after losses you got to shut the you know what up.
Right.
And so that kind of instilled in me the importance of winning, and that winning really meant people's livelihood, because you don't perform well, like you don't get paid.
And being around those guys, you probably understood at a young age what it takes to be good, right?
Yeah, for sure. And like that was like spring training. I spent every spring break out there with them on spring training, waking up at 5 in the morning, going to the field. So it was awesome.
Right. Obviously, the work aspect of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Garrett, what has this week been like for players? Coach Brown was talking about minimizing the activities that you guys do here in Charlotte to try to get that family time while also practicing. Just what have the past few days been like?
Yeah, it's been awesome. You know, up here, this is really my second family. So Christmas yesterday was awesome. Just being able to spend it with all of them, having dinner with all of them. It's been cool, but then, you know, when he always says when it's work time, playtime's playtime. So, you know, I think we've done a really good job of balancing that so far this year, or this week.
Over the 2 practices you guys have had down here so far, just overall thoughts, how have things went?
Yeah, guys feel good. You know, we've really been practicing this game plan for 2 weeks now. So now it's just getting to the point of sharpening it and, you know, taking out stuff that we don't want to run.
I was talking with Coach Brown about what the past month or so has looked like for you and just working on your development. He said you guys have been working more on your pass game, and he thinks maybe more things that will show up next season with you.
Yeah.
But what has the past month been like for you, and what have those things you've been working on just for you personally?
Yeah, it's kind of been just, you know, kind of just fine tuning things. They're not like if just a regular person walked down the street wouldn't notice anything. But, you know, to people who know quarterbacks, know football, it's just small incremental things that, you know, could lead to a really big jump next year.
So in those types of things, is that more just deep passes, getting the ball farther downfield, just as far as the pass game goes, the next step?
I'd say it kind of translates to all throughout the, you know, to the quick ones to the back, you know, intermediate, short, and then obviously deep balls. It kind of translates to all 3 or 4 levels.
Mechanics, obviously that's something new. That's the next step for you. Some of the different things. What are some of those minute things that you got to work on? Yeah,
I think it all starts with my feet, and especially throwing left. You know, being a shorter guy, you know, sometimes I try to fight to get my arm really high to get the release point high, which, you know, you don't need. And I don't really have the problem with it going right, but going left, I kind of try to lean and get it high, and that leads to inaccuracy. So that's pretty much the really big main one. And then, you know, kind of tying my feet and my eyes together, because usually my eyes will be going through progression, but then my feet will get stuck on, you know, my second read or something. So it's really just marrying my feet and my eyes together.
And I know, again, from talking to your dad yesterday, he said you've always been kind of a home run kind of guy. He said singles are good too. I think that's something he tells you.
Yeah.
Take the check down, take the easy shot if you got it.
Yeah, he texts me all the time, just or on game day. He texts me. He said, "Don't be afraid to take crumbs. You know, you don't need the whole damn loaf sometimes. Crumbs are good," and that's something I'm continuing to learn.
That's just your style, though, right? The punt since you were a little kid, just the way you always played. You know,
that's how I've always played. You know, I'm always wanting to have the big one, and, you know, it's sometimes not to my advantage.
And the last thing here, why are you so good at two-minute offense? Why does that just fit what you do, whether it's the end of the half, end of the game?
Yeah, I think our wideouts do a really, really good job of kind of getting the signal and getting the line fast. So a lot of times when they start their route, you know, the defense, they don't even have their cleats in the turf. Like they just got their call and they're still trying to line up. So I think that's a testament to, you know, them getting a line fast, and then the offensive line getting the mic IDs right and keeping me clean. And then I think just 2-minute drill is just, you don't really have to think too much. Like you just react. Like we've practiced these plays so many times that, you know, we know exactly what to do on every play. So then it's kind of just, oh, this is the play. All right, this is what we're doing.
Does it slow down for you? You know, you listen to great players, and they always say at the key moments the game slows down.
Yeah.
You understand? You get an idea of what they're talking about in that.
Yeah, I think like Baylor really, like the last drive at Baylor, like I saw it the entire way, and like when the ball left my hands, like there was never a doubt that Gene was going to come down with it.
Garrett, along the lines of the receivers, Traylon Ray is a guy who's really come on in the last half of the season. What have you seen from him in his development?
Yeah, I think he's finally learning how to practice and learning how to really compete at a very, very high level. And he's still a true freshman, so he's still really, really young. But everything you could want in a wide receiver is there. If you see the way he tracks the ball, if you see the way he catches the ball, it just looks different than really anybody that I've kind of been around. That's aside from a few guys. But I think here in the next 2-3 years, he's going to be a phenomenal player.
Along those lines, obviously, we know what Jaheim can do on the ground. He's also come up with some big catches for you. It seems his pass game is coming along. His receiving is coming along as well.
Yeah, no, he's just a damn athlete. So like any way that me and Coach Brown can get the ball in his hands, we're going to try to do that. Whether that's throwing him a corner ball or handing him the ball off. We're just trying to get him the ball in open space.
What has this past month been like working for probably the first time since you've really been here without Zach Frazier at center?
Yeah, it's kind of sucked for lack of a better term. He's one of my best friends. I miss him out there. But he's been around the building. He's been to every practice. He's been talking with me. And then I know we'll continue to do that on the game Wednesday night.
What have you seen from Brandon and his role filling it for him?
Yeah, well, he stepped in a really big moment at the Baylor game. And so I have all the confidence in the world that he's going to call a great game. Snaps are going to be good, and that it's going to be smooth sailing.
Last one for you for the game coming up tomorrow. Coach Brown talked about one of the challenges being North Carolina's pass rush. What have you seen from them in that aspect, and just what are you expecting defensively?
Yeah, I think they have one of the top edge guys that we've played against this year. He's really fast off the edge. He bends the corner well. He's big, and they've gotten after the quarterback, and I think that's what their defensive coordinator wants to do is pressure the quarterback and get him to make mistakes. But I have all the confidence in the world in my offensive line, so it should be a good one.